I see that Ryan Fitzpatrick is calling in. I'm such a dummy. I'm working here at the station, and I do have phones right in front of me, but I also have the computer in front of me and paper in front of me. And I asked Drab like 5 seconds before, is Ryan on? And he goes, no, dummy. You have a phone right in front of me. I was like, that's right. I can look at it.
That's right. You can.
But joining us right now on our guest hotline, brought to you by BetQL. Bet smarter and beat the books. Download the BetQL app today or visit BetQL.com. It is the new quarterback for the Washington football team, Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Fitz.
Ryan, thanks a lot for waking up with us.
Oh, yeah. What a nice welcome that was. Thank you, guys.
You try, man.
Hey, it's the best we can do.
I can also mention,
we're still tired, bro.
You're on 9 teams. Look, you've thrown for almost 35,000 yards, 23 more yards to get to 35,000. And it all started for you with the Rams when you were competing with Jeff Smoker for the third-string job. Isn't that right?
Yeah. 2005 seventh-round draft pick, and Jeff Smoker and I were battling it out. And then I guess the rest is history. I won the third job, and a couple guys got hurt, and I got to play a little bit that year.
Hey, I wanted to kind of go back to when you were younger. You grew up in Arizona, right?
Yep.
So I can't remember the exact year Arizona got a team, but I'm wondering, when you were a kid, who were you pulling for? Who was your team? Who was your guy?
So I was a big L.A. Rams fan. I was a Phoenix Cardinals fan.
Right.
But growing up, both my parents went to Arizona State, so we went to all the Arizona State games. So I was a huge ASU fan, and Jake Plummer. Okay. Do you remember the run they went on in 96 or 97 when they went to the Rose Bowl and lost to Ohio State? That was kind of the golden years for ASU football and for me as a fan. So I'm a huge Jake Plummer fan.
That really pleases our producer.
Our producer went to ASU.
Well, the ASU education not quite up to Harvard's, but
that is true.
That's slightly behind. So are you still in Miami, Ryan, or are you up here in Washington? Yeah.
I'm in Tampa.
Tampa.
So we've been here for 4 years now. So I was kind of going back and forth from Miami the last 2, but we'll be in Washington kind of after the school year ends.
Nice. What was I know you did your presser and you kind of have answered some of these, but for our audience, I know you talked about more and more teams are interested in you now than ever in your career. You're playing some of your best football now. That's got to be kind of exciting. What was the number one thing, though, that attracted you here to Washington?
Well, I mean, the number one thing I was looking for in free agency was just a chance to play, a place that was going to allow me to compete to be the guy. And so that was number one. And obviously Washington was a team that had that. And, aside from that, when I started to narrow it down, I think Coach Rivera, the culture that's being created, the youthful energy in the building, playoffs last year, it was 7-9, but it was playoffs. And I think that this team, there's a lot of optimism and there's some good juju in the building. So I think a lot of those things factor into it.
Brian, did you or your agent ask Washington if they're going to take a quarterback with the first pick or an early pick? Because I would imagine in your situation, like you say, you want to play, but you don't want to be in a deal where, like, you're playing great after 5 games and they got to put the kid in. Did that ever come up?
No, that's not really. I mean, first of all, teams aren't going to tell you either way, right? Whether they tell you yes or they tell you no, who knows what can happen between you signing and them drafting a quarterback. But for me, I've kind of seen and been in every different situation. And I know, just the fact that I'll be able to get out there and compete to be the guy and, hopefully be there on opening day. That's what I want. I want a shot. I want an opportunity to show them that I can lead the football team. And, whatever happens after that is kind of out of my control.
We're joined by Ryan Fitzpatrick, quarterback of the Washington football team. Now, before you signed with Washington, a few days before that, there was a report circulating that you were considering retirement. I was like, he's playing the best football of his career. He can't retire. He's a free agent. He's going to cash in. I know you don't have control over that, but were you thrown by that when you saw that, reported on TV and in the media?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know where that came from. I don't know, all the comments that I had made publicly were very strong in terms of me continuing to play. So I don't know where. I know where it originated. I know who put the report out there, but I don't know where the information was from, and I don't know why they wouldn't have checked to see, if that was truly the case. But yeah, that was something that was definitely false.
So Ryan, just kind of getting back to last year in Miami, you obviously were the starter. You knew Tua was there. They drafted him high, but it's not like you were playing terrible. I think you guys were, 3-3 or 4-3. You had just killed the Niners. I'm a San Francisco fan, and I watched that game. It was just embarrassing. But you played great against them, and they decided to go and make that move to Tua. It might not have been after that game. Maybe it was the week after. But I know publicly you were very, very supportive, but you're a competitor. What were your thoughts? I mean, you guys were in the mix for the division. Still were at the end of the year, obviously. What was your thoughts about going to Tua so early?
Yeah, I mean, I try to be very just honest about my comments at that point, and I was very supportive of him. I also made it known that I was just disappointed in the decision because I wanted to be out there playing, and it's one of those things that Coach Flores, that's what he decided, was going to be the best thing for the team. Whether that year in the future, and it happened during the bye week, so I think the timing of it. Being the bye week was probably part of the plan all along. But, yeah, I mean, that was just something I worked through last year and tried to be the best teammate I could after that happened, and then had a few opportunities to play after that, and, just had to try to stay ready.
Ryan, you've been in the league so long and you played with so many guys. JP mentioned Smoker, and obviously everybody knows what happened with Tua and everybody in between. When you're in camp and you're with young guys, can you tell right away if this kid's going to hit or not, if he can play? Is there one thing that a young quarterback needs to be able to do, or one thing that a guy struggles with now when they come out of college? Seems like in college they don't read defenses anymore. Everybody's wide open. There's no pressure. You're known for tight window throws. Nobody seems to throw those in college. Is there one thing where you can look at a kid right away, regardless of arm strength, and you go, yeah, that kid's got it?
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of it is the intangibles. It's the study habits, the way they carry themselves, the way that some of those things that they do in the classroom translate to the field. But yeah, I mean, just talking to different coaches and evaluators, and something I really agree with as well is third down and red zone are two very, very difficult areas to master in the NFL, and a lot of these kids coming out of college are more NFL ready on first and second down with their training, with the things that they're doing. But when you get to third down and when you get down there in the red zone, it's a whole other animal that you got to kind of gain some experience on and be ready for. And that's the biggest jump that a lot of these kids have to make now. And, the separation, like you mentioned, is a big thing too. Guys aren't just running wide open anymore.
Right. You talked about it in your presser a couple weeks ago that, you give your guys a chance to make plays, right? That you will throw a tight window throw, or if you see a one-on-one matchup, you're going to give your guy. And we went through the stats, man. When you got a number one receiver, man, you will feed him the ball. How do you determine that I'm going to give him a chance here, or I'm just going to throw it away, or I'm just going to check it down? I mean, I know that happens so quickly. But is there like a stage in the game where you're more likely to do something like that? Is it just a feel thing? How does that work?
Yeah, a lot of it is just feel. I mean, part of it too is just gaining confidence in a guy and knowing that he's going to come down with the play, I think maybe the biggest example, at least more recent in my career, is Brandon Marshall. And, in 2015, just kind of the rapport that we had, all those 50-50 type balls that he was able to bring in, we had a good thing going. So a guy like that continues to come down with them is going to continue to get the ball. And that's just kind of the way I've always been. But, I sat yesterday and was watching just the target tapes of last year of some of the receivers and tight ends, and I'm really excited, to get to work with these guys and get out there.
Talking to Ryan Fitzpatrick, the new quarterback for the Washington football team, of course, has played now for 9 teams during his career, thrown for almost 35,000 yards, 223 touchdowns in his career. I want to kind of rapid fire rip through a couple questions. Just first guy that pops into your head, because you just mentioned Brandon Marshall being maybe the best 50-50 guy that you've thrown to. How about quarterbacks? Who was the most cerebral quarterback that was your teammate besides yourself?
Gosh, these are so hard for me to rip through. I mean, you stumped me. Let's go to the next question.
All right. Well, what about the first guy, like the earliest guy to get to the to get to the park, besides yourself?
Let's go with Carson Palmer.
Carson Palmer.
Yeah.
And then with receivers, who was just the biggest burner that you had to work with?
I would say Deshaun Jackson.
Deshaun Jackson, absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he was here in Washington for a time. The problem was he just couldn't stay healthy.
Yeah, but in terms of being able to take the top off of defense, and in terms of being able to track a ball in the air, he's as special as I've ever seen.
All right, in the locker room, who was just the biggest physical freak that you were just in awe of body-wise when you would see them?
Gosh, there are, I'm ripping through 16 years of locker rooms right here.
All right. You're really prepped for this.
I'm thinking about early on in my career, making the jump from Harvard with, very normal looking human beings to the NFL. Right. And Steven Jackson was the first guy when I walked into a locker room where I was like, wow, I do not belong.
Right. Why am I here?
That's hilarious.
So, Ryan, you talked about some of the receivers you're playing with, and now you've got McLaurin, and now you've got Curtis Samuel. Who knows about the draft? They may draft another young kid. But obviously, this. Washington struggled offensively last year. 4 different starting quarterbacks. Okay, so you're going to be the 5th starting quarterback for Ron Rivera in 18 games if you include the postseason last year. But you've got 2 legit weapons. And Logan Thomas turned into a really good tight end. Gibson's legit. McKissick, great little safety valve. So talk about the opportunities with those guys in particular, especially McLaurin and Samuel.
I mean, I'm excited watching tape and just knowing the little that I know about those guys. A lot of this is kind of going to be a wait and see. I don't know what the off season's going to look like. In terms of workouts and OTAs and mini camps. I know they're working through that right now, the PA and ownership. But I kind of need to get on the field with these guys, get in the classroom with these guys, and even with Scott Turner, just, here's our weapons and here's what we're trying to do. That'll be something we're going to have to work through and figure out. But every day I'm kind of texting my strengths and things I like and don't like, and, just making sure that everybody has a good feel for each other. That'll be a big, something big that we're going to have to do right away, whether there's a shortened off season or no off season.
Hey, Ryan, while you're meeting with Scott Turner, I would volunteer, if I were you, that you have 8 rushing touchdowns and just 27 starts in your last 3 seasons. That you have a nose for the end zone yourself.
Yeah, none of those are designed runs. I can tell you that right now. Those are running for my life. Yeah, for sure.
So what's the timeline for you? You mentioned I know you've got a big family. I think you have 7 children, and you said they're in Miami until the end of the school year. What's the timeline? But aren't they? That's right, they're in Tampa. Sorry. Right. So what's the timeline for the family move up here? Are you going to move everybody up here just for the year? How's that going to work?
Yeah, we'll move everybody there. So late May, school will get out, and we'll have kind of June and July. Again, not sure what the off season is going to look like in terms of practice and mini camps and things. We're still going to have to figure that out, but by the time the next school year rolls around, we'll all be up there and, hopefully settled in. And it's just one of those things. We moved so many times. This one, I think it's a little bit different because my oldest will be in high school. So, there's some moving pieces to this one for sure, but we'll try to get all that figured out, before July, hopefully.
Ryan, all of us played sports growing up. Jason really the only one that played at a really high competitive level, but none of us played football, right? So we played one game in the early 2000s. We challenged the local professional women's team.
Why did I know it was going to get here?
Oh, hold on. The Divas. And we smoked them, Ryan. And I said if we didn't win, we'd have to kill ourselves. But we smoked them. But there was I played tight end, and I could only remember – I needed a wristband to remember the plays, right? That's how dumb I am. I'm blown away at quarterbacks. How quickly, and you went to Harvard, how quickly will you have this offense down? Like when you get to minicamp or, by the can they run the full playbook, you think, by week one with you? Because you've been in so many different systems, all the verbiage and everything else. I was playing tight end. I had 3 plays, and I didn't even know where to line up. I'm blown away at how smart you guys are. Yeah.
Well, I think, yes, for sure, I'll have it down. Every offense, the languages are all different, but the core concepts are the same. So, there's a lot of stuff that is completely foreign to me in this offense when I sit, and look at it on paper, but a lot of the ways that they call it is foreign to me, not necessarily what they're running or what the reads are going to be, the progression. So, I'll just, do my best the next few months to get up to speed that way. And there's going to be some of it that, maybe it's a little bit different than last year because there's more things that I like, but we're going to continue to work on that and figure things out as we go.
All right, here's a really important question, Ryan, and I assume you're an early riser. That's why you came on the show early. So what will you do on the way to the park? Will you listen to the radio? Will you listen to the Junkies? Will you listen to a podcast? Are you trying to learn more? What do you do on the way to the park?
Hopefully you get coffee, I would think, this early.
Yeah, I'm a big coffee guy. I'm a big Dunkin' Donuts guy. I don't know if there's got to be Dunkin' up there, right?
Oh, yeah.
Tons of them.
Oh, you're good.
You got 1 billion of them.
You're good.
Okay, we're good. We're good to go. So I'm a big Dunkin' guy, and honestly, sometimes I sit in silence. As weird as that sounds. If not, I'll probably be listening to I'm sorry that I'm not going to say Junkies, but like 90s on 9 or something. More music than sports talk.
Right. You've been listening to The
Right.
Drive.
I have to ask this because it's not very often we have a Harvard grad with an economics degree. Is Bitcoin a bubble? Go, Ryan.
Love it.
Tell us what you know about Bitcoin.
Great question.
I do not have any stake in Bitcoin, but the guys that I think hold the most, maybe the Winklevoss twins.
Yeah.
I was at school with them at the same time.
Oh,
so.
wow.
Oh, really? Did you
Did you know them? Did you know them?
Yeah, were they
And I
were they cool
don't
kids?
really.
Oh, okay.
I don't really know them that well. No.
Yeah.
Right,
They
right.
weren't jocks.
They were
Yeah, they
rowers.
were. They were rowers.
They did
That's
crew.
true.
Yeah, they did crew.
Yeah, they're
That
crew.
counts, dude.
I know
That
Ryan's
counts.
got to run. It's been fun. Hopefully we can do this again sometime.
Thank you,
All right,
buddy.
thank you very much.
Good stuff.
Appreciate you guys.
All right,
Yep,
man.
thanks, Ryan.
Welcome to DC, bud.